forecast. This is WeatherScope.
There's trouble for holiday travelers headed into the Northeast tonight. Snow, ice, and a cold rain. Good evening and welcome to WeatherScope. I'm Dave Schwartz. For all the details on this storm and the areas affected by it, we turn now to Mike Seidel in the Forecast Center for a complete update.
And Dave, the storm is causing some highway problems. Again, we urge you to watch the elevated surfaces in New England as we have a mixture of icy precipitation, snow, sleet, and freezing rain moving into the area at this point. Let's take a look at the storm, and it continues to churn away. We've been following this one since late last week, and it's been trekking like its predecessors and like the big one in the southwest will too. We'll have more on this and how this may impact the entire storm system in the plains coming up. But first, we want to kind of focus in on what's going on in the Northeast. And joining me here in the Forecast Center is senior meteorologist Tom Moore. Tom, we want to talk about a little bit about what's going on right now and certainly update everybody on the rush hour tomorrow morning, especially in the Boston area.
Yeah, all the precipitation is slowly moving eastward towards southern New England.
And so far, we have a lot of dry air aloft, so as it falls into the dry air, it evaporates, but eventually we'll see that precip going all the way down to the ground, although we see some radar echoes now around the Boston area.
Right, we saw that in New York City. It took about 3 or 4 hours to moisten up the atmosphere enough so that the precipitation began to reach the ground.
But temperatures now in New York are above freezing, so most of you in that area, at least out in the Jersey suburbs, at least the southwestern side of the city, are in pretty good shape. Right now at Newark, we have nothing falling. Earlier, we had some sleet. Let's go to the weather map and show you what is going on. Cool, dry, high pressure ridging in, and we have storminess east and west.
Right, not the strongest high pressure that you ever see this time of year. However, it was strong enough to hold in some cool, dry air. You brought in warm, moist air aloft. You had a potpourri of precipitation types, but the precipitation was having trouble moving northeastward because as it was falling through the drier air, it was evaporating, as you pointed out. Eastern New York, precipitation has begun to snow east of Syracuse, now from Utica to Albany, all the way into the Berkshires, and then just north of New York City around the Hudson Valley. And then, as you pointed out, a combination of sleet and rain around New York. There was a little bit of freezing rain as the temperature flirted with 32 degrees around Newark, but looks like temperatures may actually warm up later on tonight as an easterly flow comes in from the ocean around that developing low pressure, which is down in the Carolinas.
And you can see the radar echoes now getting into the Boston area, but again, that is evaporating on the way down and not reaching the ground yet, but it will sometime overnight tonight. Probably cause some problems for the rush hour.
Right, the atmosphere begins to moisten up when you get what we call virga, V-I-R-G-A, which is precipitation that falls but does not reach the ground. So this is the sacrificial lamb, so to speak, and then we get this precipitation in another 4 or 5 hours into the area, and we should have precipitation beginning as snow and sleet in Boston, eventually going over to rain, but inland areas will get a fairly decent snowfall from Worcester on westward toward the Berkshires.
And a couple of spots where we had some sleet earlier today, but no serious problems. We were hitting last night. It was a very borderline situation, D.C. and Baltimore. And as you can see here, there's some rain, but temperatures tonight in the mid-30s, should stay above freezing. We don't expect any problems there, but we do expect problems to the north where it's plenty cold for snow across northern New England. 31 in Boston, but 9 in Bangor. That's the cool air you mentioned. But as you said earlier, this is not going to be a real crippling snow event, more of a nuisance.
3, 4, 5-inch snowfall probably in interior areas, a little bit more in the mountains, which is good news, by the way, for the ski slope operators in New England because there hasn't been much snow so far this month.